the simplest way to master your trading psychology. After watching this video, you will be able to master your psychology in a better way. If you have been struggling with trading emotions, this video is what you need. Today I will discuss why trading psychology is so important, common misconceptions and mistakes, and the best thing to do right now to master your trading psychology and emotions during losing streaks. So why is trading psychology so important? We all know it, we all have been there. When you're taking a trade, it loses money, then you take the next trade, it loses again, then you take the next trade, it loses again. And then you start to feel these doubts, like, is this even working? Am I not just wasting money? And then usually people start to be making mistakes. They start to adjust little things. Maybe they move the stop to break even so that they don't lose the next trade because they're scared, because they've been losing the past 3 trades. And all that you're doing is messing up your edge in the long run. And that's like why trading psychology is so important, because you need a trading edge and you need to be able to execute that without making mistakes. If you have those two things, you're a profitable trader. What people do is when they have a trading edge, let's say they find one, and every trading edge is going to have losing periods. No matter who you are, everyone is going to have it. And what people do is when they have an edge and they lose 4 times in a row, they start adjusting things based on how they feel about the last 4 trades. And then they are not executing their edge efficiently the next trade. And because they're not doing that, they're losing even more, and the drawdown gets bigger and bigger. And then they're like, hold on, I didn't even follow my plan. And before they realize it, they're down like 8, 9 trades drawdown. So that's why trading psychology is so important. You need to follow your plan if it has edge, regardless of how you feel, regardless of the last trade, the last 4 trades, the last 5 trades. They don't matter. Trading psychology is key, because even if you have an edge, you can't execute it, you can't make money. So that's why it's key. Now, what are some common mistakes that you are probably making that you can work on, so you prevent yourself from going down that loophole that so many people do? I always talk about like having an edge, but also reasons people lose. And reason number 1, like I just briefly discussed, is that people make adjustments based on the last few trades. If you are doing that, stop with it right now, because it's costing you money in the long run and you don't even realize how much. Next to that, it's also teaching you to not follow your plan. So you're building a habit of not following your rules and you're losing extra money. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to find out that that's just ridiculous and that is harmful to your performance. So the first step is always building a concrete plan that works in the long run, and then it's up to you to follow the plan. Don't adjust stuff based on how you feel, based on losing money the past few days, past few weeks, whatever it is. Only do it when there's clear evidence that in the long run something isn't working well. So that's common mistake number 1. Common mistake number 2 is that people are all over the place when they push the button. So when they are just analyzing, it's all okay, they're all relaxed, and as soon as they get money on the line and price goes up and down and up and down, they're like, oh fuck, should I do this, should I do that, should I do this, should I do that? And this all comes down to not planning out. And my question to you is like, do you have a clear trading plan? Because if you don't, you're going to make that mistake. And you want everything to be clear. Everything has to be clear before you push the button, because as soon as you push the button, you have money on the line and your emotions start to take over. I don't have that anymore, but especially in the beginning, and if you're still having these emotions with trading, that's something you want to do. Be clear, be organized. That's how professionals do it, that's how you should be doing it. Now the next thing is probably going to be an eye-opener for most people in here. And that is trading with a too low win rate. And later on in this video I will explain exactly the mathematics behind it, so stay tuned for that. But the lower your win rate is, the higher and the longer your losing streaks are. So if your win rate is 20%, then it's quite normal to lose 5 to 10 times in a row. Even though in the long term you make money, you have a lot of these shit periods where you have losing streaks. And for your trading psychology, for your trading emotions, this can be very, very hard. Just imagine, let's say you trade for a living. Let's say you got a 100k account and you show up on Monday and you lose 1k. Then you show up on Tuesday, you lose 1k. Then Wednesday you want to make it all back because there's no trade, so you get frustrated. Thursday you get 2 setups, they both lose. And then Friday you're like, fuck, I lost so much money this week, I have to make it back. Then you don't get a setup, you get annoyed, you get into the weekend being annoyed because you never made any money this week. And then Monday you're like, oh, let's get started again. And then you take the setup and it loses again. This can happen, and this is something you need to be willing to cope with. And this is something a lot of people like overlook this, but that's the reality of this job. It can really be a pain in the ass sometimes, and the lower your win rate is, the more often these scenarios will happen. So think about that. Let's go to the sheet behind me so I can explain the mathematics behind psychology, win rate, losing streaks. All right, so on the screen we have an Excel sheet that basically calculates the probability of losing trades within a 100 trade sequence. Now, I have shared this before, but let's take a look at it. Currently, I'm having a drawdown. I've lost 5 trades in a row. My win rate is around 65%. So if I take a look at losing 5 trades in a row, there's a 40% chance, so a pretty decent chance that within 100 trades, I will lose 5 times in a row. Now, because I know this, and because I've backtested, and because numbers don't lie, I'm not shitting myself. I'm not having doubts or trading psychology issues or whatever. This is just mathematics. This is just how it works. And you have to cope with this. And there's even a 16%, so a 1 in 6%, 1 in 6 basically, that I get 6 trades in a row that I lose. And even this can happen. It's unlikely, but it can happen. So when you know, like when you've backtested a lot and when you know these numbers that I show you here, it gives you the confidence to stick to the plan. And like I said in the beginning of the video, you need an edge and you need to follow it without fucking up. Now, the psychology of having a low win rate, so basically how to cope with it. If you take a look at, let's say, 30% win rate, there's 100% chance, 100% that you're going to lose 8 times in a row. There's almost 100% chance you're going to lose 10 times in a row. If you're risking 2% a trade, that's almost a 20% drawdown that you're getting. So you show up, you lose, you show up, you lose, you show up, you lose, time and time again. And that's why I always prefer higher win rates, because it's just easier to follow your plan. And most people just can't cope with this. They can't cope with, even if they lose 3 times in a row, they start fucking up. Imagine losing 7 or 8 times in a row. You really have to have steel balls to stick to the plan. And that's something this job requires. So think about that for yourself. What's your win rate? Can you cope with these probabilities? Because it will happen sometime in the future. And it's up to you to not fuck up and not have trading emotions during that period. So yeah, have a think about it. So to summarize, build a trading plan. Don't adjust based on your last few trades or your emotions, and take a look at these numbers and really think, am I able to cope with losing 8 times in a row, or should I work on increasing my win rate? That's it for today's, guys. If you want to work with me on fixing your psychological issues or building an edge or increasing your win rate, whatever it is, click the link down below, book a free call with me. We can discuss your problems. I will give you some tips, and together we build you into a profitable trader. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. See you next week.